It's March 24th, 2025, and you are watching Cover News. In 2016, it would have been difficult to not know about Hillary Clinton's email server, a private server used by Hillary Clinton to conduct business. The email server had 110 emails that were considered to be classified. 60 of these emails would be secret, and 20 would be top secret. The attacks for mishandling of this information were brutal. Today, the Trump administration has been caught doing something but much, much worse. Jeffrey Goldberg, the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, on March 11th was invited to a private Signal group chat by the now acting National Security Advisor Michael Waltz. Signal is a third-party chat application you can download on the App Store. While chats on Signal are encrypted, it should go without saying that the application should not be used to talk about matters of national security. But that is exactly what would go on in this group chat for the next few days. With notable members like Tulsi Gabbard, Director of National Intelligence, Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, J.D. Vance, our Vice President, Scott Bessent, Secretary of Treasury, and Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense, for the next few days, they would discuss plans for an upcoming attack on Houthi rebels that would happen soon. On Friday, March 14th, a policy discussion would be initiated by the Vice President. It would read, "Team, I'm out for the day doing an economic event in Michigan, but I think we're making a mistake. 3% of U.S. trade runs through the Suez. 40% of Europe's trade does. There's a real risk that the public doesn't understand this or why it is necessary. The strongest reason to do this is, as POTUS said, to send a message." The vice president would go on to criticize Donald Trump. "I am not sure the president is aware of how inconsistent this is with his message on Europe right now. There is a further risk that we see a moderate to severe spike in oil prices. I am willing to support the consensus of this team and keep concerns to myself, but there is a strong argument for delaying this a month, doing the messaging work on this matter, seeing where the economy is, etc." Pete Hegseth's account would chime in with, "Vice President, I understand your concerns and fully support you raising this with POTUS. Important considerations, most of which are tough to know how they will play out. Economy, Ukraine, peace in Gaza, etc. I think the messaging is going to be tough, no matter what. Nobody knows who the Houthis are, which is why we would need to stay focused on 1. Biden failed, and 2. Iran funded." He would go on to say, "Waiting a few months doesn't fundamentally change the calculus. Immediate risks on waiting. 1. This leaks and we look indecisive. 2. Israel takes an action first, or the Gaza ceasefire falls apart. And we don't get to start this on our own terms. We can manage both. We are prepared to execute, and if I had final go or no-go vote, I believe we should do this. This is not about the Houthis. I see this as two things: restoring freedom of navigation, a core national interest, and 2, reestablish deterrence, which Biden created. But we can pause, and if we do, I will do all the work I can to enforce 100% operational security." That's a lot to digest, but I'll try. First, the irony of Pete Hegseth talking about avoiding leaks and maintaining operational security doesn't fall on me. It's comical that we're worried about this while using a commercially available app to chat about plans to attack terrorists in the Middle East. The second thing I noticed is that during the planning of this attack, one person is not in the room, being looped in on this decision. Where is Donald Trump? It feels to me like all of this is being done behind his back. Even with J.D. Vance's opposition to this plan, he states it plain as day. I think we're making a mistake, and I'm not sure the president is aware of how inconsistent this is with his messaging on Europe right now. For all of Trump's admin's claim that Biden had his staff running everything behind his back, it sure looks like this is what's going on with Trump. On March 15th, a message would be sent to Goldberg's Signal app from Pete Hegseth's account. It would say "Team Update," along with details of ship locations, armaments, and troop locations. information that in the hands of an adversary of the US could be used to cause massive amounts of damage. The message would have the time when the attacks would start, and surely enough, at 1:55 when Goldberg checked his phone for news of an attack, reports of explosions in Yemen were being reported. It goes without saying that the government has applications to handle this kind of communication, and failure to use them can result in leaked information, poor record keeping, and even death of our Americans in the field. Now, in my opinion, a good reason to have communications like this would be to ensure legal requests for that information could not be done. Judges have already been having issues getting information from our current executive branch, and this would put another roadblock if all you have to do is delete the messages. The government has strict record-keeping laws and practices with multiple people standing in the way if someone's trying to remove things from the record. It was wrong when Hillary Clinton did it, and it's even worse now. Worse because of the use of a commercial app, not even in the control of its users. Worse because of the lack of security the people using the technology had. And worse because of the possible ramifications for our country. If this is how our government is going to be ran, it's not good for transparency. This has been Cover News. Like, subscribe, comment, and stay tuned for more.